Yeah. Good afternoon. Hello, students, near and far. Today, though the day is very rainy, and this the season, rainy season, is very much commonly worldwide. So many poets, so many writers and authors wrote so many things about rainy season. Our Tagore, our Nazrul, our prominent poets, and also the British poets, they wrote and expressed their views, their sentiment, feelings, and emotions regarding rainy season worldwide. So how beautiful is the day. Anyway, in this very pandemic situation, you know well, we are now asked from the Ministry of Education, side by side, as we are enlisted under the National University. So this is also order from the National University. And accordingly, our Honorable Principal, Professor Jafar Ali, he also advised us to conduct our academic program virtually. This virtual class, as we are organizing, and you are also connected to us very much. Initially, this virtual class was very much problematic from both sides, from my side, from your side also, to exchange our views, exchange our discussion program. But now it's becoming easier, and you are also learning. Not only you are learning, I myself is also learning through the virtual program. I am now conducting, I am now dealing with the telecommunication devices with. And you are also, you are the more advanced, you are upcoming generation, you can do far better than that of me. I am also learning from you. Anyway, the topics is here. I like to discuss about the state enterprises are the burden. Thing is, so many business organizations are there, so many letters as per the size, as per the management, as per investment point of view, as per legality point of view. The state enterprise is a different thing. After the liberation war, with a view to form a socialistic form of economy, government took a decision to nationalize the giant industries, basically the enemy properties. Say for the Adamji jute mill, Nishat jute mill, like this way, and giant public service organizations, say for the railway, BRTC, Biman Bangladeshi Airlines. These organizations are brought under the ownership of the state, and the management went under the supervision, and management was completely by the government. Anyway, but the practice, the image, and the result of the state-owned enterprise, we are really frustrated. Actually, it was maybe, I'm not, I don't like to mention any political issues, don't like to raise. But thing is this, that was to some extent, political, emotional decision. Because someone was the owner of that mills or factories, and they developed that mills or factories as per their own decision, as per their own view, as per their own concept. So the people problems. So to some extent, not to some extent, but in every extent, it was quite tough from the new one to understand the real problems of those sort of the mills and factories and their management, their administrative affairs, all including. Just, it was a total setup, total policy making setup, total administrative setup, total managerial setup was changed. So, how it possible? Anyway, but even then, as the government took the policy, adopted the policy for nationalizing this sort of giant mills and factories, and for that reason we had to bear a very disastrous burden for the longest period of time. And still now Bangladesh is facing this reality and problem. State enterprises, the main problem was there. There is the, during the liberation war, to some extent, so many mills and factories were damaged. After liberation war, there is restarted. But when a mill and factory, these mills and factories need so many things to understand. Number one is the management. Management was completely new and non-professional. It was mainly the political recruitment was there. Number two, there is a question of funding. Well, who is to fund to run these sort of mills and factories? As the government-owned, state-owned, government-owned organization, so government has to pay. Government has to mitigate the financial challenges. Then there is the question of the automation. During the liberation war, so many machineries and equipments were damaged or looted. But technology is changing, automation is changing. So now you are starting is a question of huge investment or further procuring a huge brand new high quality machineries and equipment, which was not at all possible from that new government. Then the other thing is this, that is the highly skilled and trained workers and operators. Those were they were not available there. Some of them died during the liberation war. And some guys were appointed, recruited very politically, and they were not skilled. Or not skilled, even semi-skilled. In that situation, the total production system, manufacturing system was crashed. And the another problem, there was a question of the research and development, R&D. You know, people's choice, people's consumption, people's taste, people's purchasing capacity, people's livelihood, all these things are very much changing and recurringly changing. As in this very changing manner, what we need to maintain the right quality of product, right cost at right time, and in the right season. And if not so, the buyers will not be inclined to get purchased products from these government-owned or state-owned enterprises. That was another very giant trouble. At the same time, there is the dumping question of dumping from the neighboring countries. What we are manufacturing at a cost of $1.5, and they supplied that product in the market, in the export market, $1.25. And that was another tragedy. Then another problem was very serious quite in Bangladesh, that is, in the state-owned enterprises, politicizing. So many political organizations, workers' organizations are there, and they are very active in a state of manufacturing goods or products, in a state of providing their better service in the factory. They engaged in quarreling, they engaged in hitching, they engaged in confrontation. This was the very tragic situation. So, day by day, the volume of the working atmosphere, the manufacturing quality, cost, all these things was declining day by day. And the huge number of workforce were there in the working field, in the factory level. The workers were working there, and the leaders were bringing near and dear ones, having those who had no mere quality to work in a factory. Just the matter was politicized. So this way, our so many textile mills, glass factory, cement factory, paper factory, jute factory, just severely collapsed and damaged. Some of them was running, still a few running, but without output. Government has to bear a huge amount of money each and every year to mitigate their deficit budget. So our total actual development work has been hampered. It's a tragedy. And no organization till now could prove profiteering. There is another organization, the Biman Bangladesh Airlines. Since the liberation war, after the liberation war, till now, no financial year they proved profit. Always deficit, always subsidized. Always deficit, always subsidized. There is a lucrative chance, there is every chance to do better for Bangladesh Railway. Bangladesh Railway can do better, but even that organization failed to earn profit. Once, 2 or 3 years maybe, BSC, Bangladesh Shipping Corporation, maybe they gain profit. Anyway, these are the real problem. Now world is very much competitive in nature. If you want to export your goods and services to the foreign countries, what do you need? You need to explore your product's quality. You need to minimize your cost. You need to manufacture quality product, and that product must be first very sophisticated manner be designed. After you're designing, then you will have to settle all the points and pinpoints and assurance of your right quality. At the same time, the another thing is this linkage system. What is the linkage system? We need to export our goods and services. Say for we want to export our goods to China or India, then positively what do we need? We need transportation connectivity. We need quality as per the demand, as per the specific on what, in the LC conditions, we need to supply. So, what do you need? We need to match our technology. We need to manufacture technology with their country. So, better if the system is concerned and developed connecting FDI. The Chinese investors are coming here and they are matching with our investors. They are setting here a factory and they should have a marketing agreement with the Chinese investors, and they will also purchase their own product from Bangladesh to China. Like this way, the Indian buyers, they will be inclined, if they invest here and they manufacture their required goods here, and they can import their goods from Bangladesh to India. So it will be easier from the side of the exporters. The government will not hamper. No government can hamper. Right now, what's going on? We are very easily importing goods from India, but we can't easily export our goods to India because certification crisis, a huge crisis, certification crisis. And this is a very challenging, like this where if we want to increase our export volume to Germany, then positively we need to understand what is the actual requirement of the German market, what sort of quality they need. We need to manufacture goods and services as per their necessity, as per their demand, as per their quality expectation and cost expectation. Anyway, this is the scenario. So state-owned enterprise in all this point just not only failed, absolutely failed. What we can do now? We can adopt some policy. In some phases, state-owned enterprise can do better. Still now I believe Bangladesh Railway can do better. It's a giant organization and is having $1 billion asset. And so if it's adopting the better technology, adopting the better automobiles, engines, carriages, combining with Iran, China, Turkey, Australia, we can develop our railway services. And if the railway is developed, then obviously Bangladesh is developed. Okay, for the betterment and development, after government BMRE, some industries, BMRE, the Balancing Modernization Innovation Expansion Program. We can launch this. But even then, the matter is actually quite tough. It's everyone's property, no one's property. Like that the thing. And I'd like to mention few points, that is, for this development, for the renovation, to take it in the right track, government tried, several governments. After, even from since 1972, this has been started. That was the policy of the post-independence time, 1971 to 1974. Another was the revised, the investment policy 1974 to 1976. Then the National Development Strategy, it was 1976 to 1980. Further, there was a second 5-year plan, 1980 to 1985. Then, when all these things achieved not at all that much result, then that was the privatization policy in the year 1983. This privatization policy is still now working, and after then the Board of Investment formed in the year 1989. Accordingly, this is now just going on their activities to develop their state-owned enterprises. But very result is frustrating. Frustrating to some extent. I like to say, this country how long will bear the burden of the state-owned enterprises? Ethically, it bears, politically, this bears huge value, but practically, it's quite tough. So realizing all these things, we need to think in a different manner and a better form. We can rearrange these things. We can bring FDI. We can continue these mills and factories positively. We need to develop some phases. We need to develop our skill and efficiency of the workers and of the management. We have to develop a concept. The concept is mainly concerned to designing. What is design? We need to understand pinpoint problem identification and to run the overall system in the right track. That is concerned and connected to design. Anyway, a student in the next classes I will continue this about, and this is for to convey the actual situation to our students, and in the very short span of time is quite tough to go through in detail. In the next class I will go with showing you the statistical review and financial review report to you placing. Anyway, students, today I am participating here in the very pandemic situation. You keep yourself inside your house. Don't go outside. Don't be over courageous, okay? And at the same time, being a teacher, I am, as per my observation, Bangladesh is having a very lucrative chance of FDI. Our so many giant projects are going on. It started some phases, and by 2025 to 2030, what Bangladesh will enrich, you can't imagine. But the very tragedy is prevailing there. You can't speak fluently English. That's the number one problem. You don't have the vocational training. This is another problem, major problem. Another problem is FDI is mainly coming from China. FDI is mainly coming from Korea. FDI is mainly coming from Japan. Also from the British countries. They are the Arabic speaking, Korean language speaking people, Chinese language speaking people, Japanese language speaking people, and overall English learning people is rare. So that what's going on, the people from other countries are coming here and they are working. About 12 lakhs workers are here. They are working and drawing a huge amount of money. This is the tragedy, but you are not getting job. So I am your teacher, like your father. It's my advice during this pandemic situation, you better using different apps, learn English, Chinese, Japanese, Arabic languages to be futuristic and build up your career. Keep safe, don't go outside, go through a study. And another point is I like to mention, we are addressing here, delivering our lecture. I am also sending my suggestion to you, and please not simply listen but also write. Until unless you are writing, you can't answer your questions properly in the right manner. Okay? Good luck, best of luck. Enjoy rainy days.